Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's a beautiful day to be a soap fan, and we are so ready to dive into the absolute madness happening in Port Charles right now. Grab a huge cup of coffee, maybe a stress ball, and get comfortable, because today's updates are completely wild and we have a lot to unpack together. I cannot believe what I am watching right now. I am literally typing this up at midnight because my brain is spinning, and I just need to vent to people who actually understand my frustration. Can we talk about Brook Lynn Quartermain for a second? Because I am losing my absolute mind over the decisions she is making. I mean, we all knew the second they showed that empty wine glass at Charlie's Pub that the writers were setting her up for a disaster, but the way this is playing out is just agonizing. So, Thursday's episode reveals that Brook Lynn finally spills the entire truth to Tracy Quartermain. And when I say the truth, I mean the whole ugly, panic-inducing truth. Brook Lynn admits that she hit the guardrail on Route 91 that night. She clipped the rail and just kept on driving. She didn't even realize Jordan and Curtis had crashed. And she didn't stop to check because she was absolutely terrified of failing a breathalyzer test. I'm sorry, but what Brook Lynn, honey, what are you doing? I have been a fan of BLQ's redemption arc for years. She has worked so incredibly hard to mature, to become a better person, and to build this beautiful life with Harrison Chase. They are literally on the verge of fostering baby, Phoebe, and now she's jeopardizing everything because she panicked. But you know what makes this even worse? Tracy's reaction. Tracy doesn't tell her to go to the police. Tracy doesn't tell her to confess to her husband. Oh no. Tracy Quartermain dishes out some brutal tough love and goes into full-blown crisis cover-up mode. Tracy looks Brook Lynn dead in the eye and tells her that she is never going to breathe a word of this to anybody, not a soul, and specifically not Chase. Am I the only one who thinks this is the worst possible advice ever? Chase is a literal police officer. He is the most straight-laced Boy Scout, honest guy in Port Charles. If he finds out that his wife was involved in a hit and run, or at least thinks she was, and covered it up to protect their foster application, it will destroy their marriage. Remember when Brook Lynn lied about Bailey being her baby? Yeah, didn't work out so well for their trust then either. But Tracy is adamant. She is laying down the law like the Quartermain matriarch. She is demanding that Brook Lynn swallow this guilt and take it to the grave. I am dreading the fallout of this. I am physically dreading it. Because Brook Lynn is already a nervous wreck, and keeping a secret this massive from the man she sleeps next to every night is going to eat her alive. And speaking of guilt, let's pivot to Jordan Ashford for a minute. Curtis is sitting there at General Hospital, comforting Jordan because she feels so overwhelmingly guilty about the accident. And honestly, she should feel guilty. Wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me calm down. Okay, back to the point. Jordan feels guilty and Curtis is being the supportive, loving partner, telling her it's not her fault. But guys, we all saw it. Jordan took her eyes off a dark, winding highway at night to passionately make out with Curtis. She was completely distracted. Yes, she had to swerve to avoid Charlotte and Danny's joyride car. But if she had been looking at the road instead of locking lips with Curtis like a teenager at a drive-in movie, maybe she could have braked in time. It just infuriates me that the narrative is working overtime to make Brook Lynn the fall guy for this crash when Jordan and Curtis were practically begging for an accident with their distracted driving. I know some people are loving the romance of Curtis staying by her bedside, and I do love them together, but personally, I need someone to acknowledge that kissing the driver is a terrible idea. Jordan is a former police commissioner. She knows better, but now she's lying in a hospital bed, beating herself up, and Curtis is reassuring her. While poor Brook Lynn is hyperventilating in the Quartermain mansion, thinking she caused the whole thing, the dramatic irony is just too much to handle. Okay, let's switch gears because I need to scream about Josslyn Jax. Josslyn is going to get herself killed. I am not exaggerating. I have watched Josslyn grow up on this show, and she has always had her mother's reckless bravery. But this is a whole new level of stupid. On Thursday, Josslyn crosses paths with Nathan West after a workout. First of all, we all know he is not Nathan. He is Cassius Faison, Cesar Faison's secret twin son, or whatever twisted lineage they've cooked up this time, and he is dangerous. He is working with Jen Sidwell for crying out loud, but Josslyn, armed with her infinite teenage confidence, uses this casual gym encounter to start pumping Nathan for information about Cesar Faison. I literally yelled at my screen, "Why, Josslyn? Why are you poking the bear?" Cassius is immediately put on guard. He's standing there probably sweating bullets internally, wondering why this college student is suddenly so deeply curious about his dead psychopathic father. Cassius tries to shut her down, of course. He plays the role of the good, slightly confused cop, insisting that Faison is deceased and urging Josslyn to just let it go. He tells her it's ancient history, but Josslyn is relentless. She has that Carly Corinthos bulldog energy and she just keeps pushing. And here's the terrifying part. Cassius realizes right then and there that Josslyn Jax is a massive problem. He senses that this isn't just some casual true crime curiosity. He knows there is more in play here. And let's not forget, Josslyn was in the ICU visiting Ross Cullum. Cullum is the one who stabbed Marco Rios. And Cullum is heavily involved in Faison's final project. If Cullum remembers seeing Josslyn and Cassius realizes Josslyn is digging into Faison, Josslyn's entire WSB secret could be blown wide open. Cassius is a survivor, and if he thinks Josslyn is a threat to his cover or his life, he will not hesitate to eliminate her. General Hospital spoilers are saying Josslyn is making a huge mistake raising his suspicions, and I am officially terrified for her. Carly's going to lose her absolute mind if she finds out Josslyn is investigating a Faison. We all know the trauma Cesar Faison inflicted on this town. This is not a game, Joss. Now let's talk about the absolute menace that is Jens Sidwell, because he is running Port Charles like his own personal playground right now. Sidwell is losing his patience, and when Sidwell loses his patience, people end up in body bags. He has a meeting with Ezra Boyle, whose main job has been to keep Laura Collins in line. Apparently Laura has been pushing back against Sidwell's demands because Laura is a queen and doesn't bow down easily. But Sidwell looks Ezra dead in the eye and warns him that he is of very little value if he can't control the mayor. That is a death threat, pure and simple. Sidwell is basically telling Ezra, do your job or I will replace you permanently. But then in walks Ava Jerome. Oh, Ava. I have such a love-hate relationship with this woman. She is the ultimate survivor, the ultimate chameleon. Ava realizes that Sidwell is on the warpath, and she steps up to do Ezra's job for him. Ava actually visits Laura Collins to try and talk some sense into her. Can you imagine that conversation, Ava Jerome? Former mob boss and current schemer giving advice to Laura Collins, the moral compass of Port Charles. Ava insists that Sidwell is going to get what he wants anyway, so Laura shouldn't fight it. Ava argues that fighting a man like Sidwell is just going to result in collateral damage. The fascinating part here is that Ava doesn't even know the full picture. Ava has no idea about the blackmail situation regarding Laura and Sonny Corinthos. She doesn't know the leverage Sidwell actually holds, but Ava has an instinct for dangerous men. She recognizes the absolute determination in Sidwell's eyes, and she knows he is not a man you say no to. And somehow, in a twist I didn't entirely see coming, but totally believe, Laura actually caves. Laura caves to Sidwell's latest demand thanks to Ava's intervention. I am so conflicted about this. On one hand, I hate seeing Laura defeated. She has stood up to Cassidines, to mobsters, to literal supervillains, and seeing her forced to bend the knee to Sidwell is heartbreaking. But on the other hand, Ava might have just saved Laura's life, or at least Ezra's life. And the kicker, Ava's efforts prove incredibly impressive to Sidwell. Ava is playing such a dangerous game here. She's aligning herself closer and closer to a grieving, vengeful father who is completely out of control. Sidwell is blaming Sonny for Jordan's crash, he's hunting for Marco's killer, and Ava's just cozying right up to the flame. Remember when Ava tried to play Ryan Chamberlain? Yeah, she likes dangerous men. But this could blow up in her face so spectacularly. I am here for the drama though. Give me all the Ava Jerome survival tactics. Finally, let's touch on the investigation side of things. Dante Falconeri is having a serious conversation with ADA Justine Turner. They are mulling over the Marco Rios murder case, trying to figure out a specific question they need to answer to nail down a suspect. It sounds like they are brainstorming, trying to piece together the timeline of what happened at the pier. And Dante is going to pass some of this news along to Laura. It is so frustrating watching the police spin their wheels when we, the audience, know exactly what happened. We know Ross Cullum stabbed Marco. We know Rocco shot Cullum. We know Jason is taking the fall. We know Cassius is covering it up. It's like watching a train wreck in slow motion. Dante is a great cop, but he is completely in the dark about his own son's involvement. When the truth finally comes out, and it has to come out for May sweeps, right, Dante's going to be devastated. The fact that he's working so hard with Justine to find a suspect, completely unaware that the real shooter is living under his roof, is just peak soap opera tragedy. I don't know how much more of this tension I can take, guys. Between Brook Lynn hiding a hit and run from Chase, Josslyn practically begging a Faison to attack her Ava, doing the devil's bidding with Laura, and Dante hunting his own son without knowing it, Port Charles is a powder keg right now. The writers are setting up so many explosive reveals for the next few weeks. I am dreading the moment Chase finds out the truth. I am terrified of what Sidwell is going to do next. But you better believe I will be glued to my screen every single day. Let me know in the comments if you guys are as stressed out as I am, because I seriously need a support group for this show right now.